Welcome to today's presentation. Today, I'm going over Administrative Guide Procedure 30402, courtesies. Now we begin with a very general statement. Tender and return hand salute as prescribed by U.S. Army regulations. But do they describe what U.S. Army regulations are? They do not. Then they tell us when we're required to salute. Now, I've been using this acronym for a very long time. You are required to salute for PUDS. Know your little acronym and you're set. The P stands for you're required to salute the P Police Commissioner or Deputy Commissioners in civilian clothes. Now, you may be wondering, why do they include the statement in civilian clothes? Because Police Commissioner and the Deputy Commissioners are civilian members of the service. So you're required to salute that police commissioner or deputy commissioners in civilian clothes. And the U, you're required to salute the United States flag as it passes. So you're at a function, the United States flag passes, you're required to tender that salute. And nobody does this on patrol, but you're required to salute the desk when entering the command. Yes, that's right. You enter the command, you will salute the desk. And the S, you're required to salute supervisory officers in uniform. Okay, yep, very simple. Supervisor approaches you, you're required to salute them. Now we got to talk about the national anthem. Okay, when we salute, you salute the flag when the national anthem is played, and if the flag is not visible, you face the band and you salute. So you hear the national anthem, you salute the flag. But if there is no flag to salute, then you will salute the band. You face the band and salute. We said when we talked about the acronym PUDS, for the S, you're required to salute supervisor officers. But does the supervisor have to return that salute? Yes, he does. Supervisor officers returns the salute promptly. I repeat, promptly. Now, are there exceptions to that rule? There are. The salute is not required at large assemblages except when addressed by or addressing supervisor officer, and the salute is not required if it interferes with police duty. So let me give an example. You're at a parade. At a parade, a supervisor walks by you. You do not have to tender the salute at the parade. But if that supervisor approaches you or you approach the supervisor, you're supposed to generally salute, except if it is going to interfere with police duty. Now we got to talk about when you're required to remove your hat and stand at attention. It's all going to be dependent upon rank. You're required to remove your hat and stand at attention in the office of police commissioner, in the office of deputy commissioner, and the office of, here it is, members above the rank of lieutenant. I repeat, above the rank of lieutenant. So if you walk in to the operations coordinator, a lieutenant's office, you are not required to remove your hat and stand at attention. But if you walk into the captain's office, you are required to remove your hat and stand at attention. Please be careful there. It says above the rank of lieutenant. That means captain and above, you will remove your hat and stand at attention. And also to be careful about is when you must order attention. You order attention when the member above the rank of captain enters the room unless otherwise directed. Above the rank of captain. So, if a captain walks into the room, do you have to yell out attention? No, you do not. If a deputy inspector, an inspector, or a chief enters the room, do you have to order attention? Yes, you do. And that's the general rule because they also give you that exception unless otherwise directed. So be careful of the rank. You are required to order attention if a deputy inspector or above enters the room. Captain or below? No. And now we've reached the meat and potatoes part of this procedure. When a command has to fly that flag at half staff, also referred to in this procedure, half mast. Does half staff and half mast mean the same thing? Yes, they do. They are synonymous. Now, we have 4 scenarios we're going to go over flying that flag at half staff for non-line of duty deaths. And then we have 2 scenarios when we have to fly that flag at half staff for line of duty deaths. 4 scenarios, non-line of duty death, and 2 scenarios for line of duty death. We're going to begin with the non-line of duty deaths. And understand that when we're trying to determine on how long to fly that flag at half staff in the command, rank matters. Everything is about rank. The higher rank you are, the longer you fly that flag at half staff. But when we talk about line of duties, rank is irrelevant. So here it is, scenario number 1 of 4 for non-line of duty death. You got to fly that flag at half staff for a lieutenant dying non-line of duty, a sergeant dying non-line of duty, or a police officer dying non-line of duty on the department building where assigned on the day of the funeral. A very short period of time for police officers, sergeants, and lieutenants who die non-line of duty. Just on the day of the funeral. Let me give you an example. Police Officer Jones, or maybe Sergeant Jones, or maybe Lieutenant Jones, who's assigned to the 8A precinct. They're RDO, and they have a vehicle collision, and they die in that vehicle collision. A non-line of duty death. We know that the 8A precinct will fly that flag at half staff on the day of the funeral. Now, the second scenario for non-line of duty deaths. And here, the rank is going to change. The first scenario dealt with police officers, sergeants, and lieutenants. The second scenario deals with captains. We're going to fly that flag at half staff for a captain dying in non-line of duty on the department building where assigned from time of death till sunset the day of the funeral. Wow, that's an extended period of time compared to police officers, sergeants, lieutenants. So let me give you an example. We have Captain Jones, the commanding officer of the 8A precinct. He is RDO and he has a vehicle collision and dies in that vehicle collision, a non-line of duty death. We have this Captain Jones, like I said, was assigned to the 8A precinct. We know the 8A precinct is going to fly that flag at half staff from the time of death till sunset the day of the funeral. A much greater time span for that captain. And then we have the third scenario for non-line of duty death. Deputy inspectors or inspectors. When you have a deputy inspector or inspector die in a non-line of duty, you're going to fly the flag at half staff on the department buildings within their command from time of death till sunset day of the funeral. Now, is that length of time the exact same length of time that we went over for a captain? It is. Okay, but it's a little different here because we're going to fly that flag at half staff on all department buildings within their command. So let me give you an example. We have Inspector or Deputy Inspector Jones, who's assigned to Patrol Borough Brooklyn North. And he was involved in a vehicle collision on his RDO, a non-line of duty death. Here, we're required to fly the flag at half staff of all the buildings in Patrol Borough Brooklyn North from time of death until sunset the day of the funeral. Okay, so same time as captain, but it's for all buildings within their command. And we have one other difference than captain. For those deputy inspectors or inspectors who die in the non-line of duty, headquarters will also fly the flag at half-staff, but a much reduced time span. We'll fly it at police headquarters at half-mast on the day of the funeral, and only the day of the funeral. Now, the fourth scenario for non-line of duty death. What about every other rank that wasn't mentioned? We talked about police officer, sergeant, lieutenant, captain, deputy inspector, and inspector. What about detectives? What about chiefs? They're uniformed members of service, and when they die in the non-line of duty, we're going to fly the flag at half-staff as directed by the police commissioner or the chief of department. So we don't know how long to fly the flag at half-staff or where to fly the flag at half-staff, because the police commissioner or the chief of department will determine that length of period of time and where it is flown at half-staff and half-mast. There it is. Know your four scenarios about flying the flag at half-staff, know what department buildings and how long at those department buildings. Now we got to talk about line of duty. Now, we got to go over when commands will fly the flag at half-staff for a line of duty death. Rank is irrelevant, and we only have two scenarios to go over. The command where the officer works in, and other commands. That's it, two scenarios for line of duty deaths. You will fly that flag at half-staff for a line of duty death on the department building where the member is assigned from time of death until 10 days, I repeat, 10 days after the funeral. That is a really long amount of time. From time of death until 10 days after the flag or funeral. That's how I kind of remember it, flag funeral. So let me give you an example. Officer Jones, assigned to the 8A precinct, responds to a robbery and is killed in the line of duty. The 8A precinct is going to fly that flag at half-staff from the time of death till 10 days after the funeral. Now we have the second scenario for line of duty deaths. We're going to be required to fly that flag at half-staff for a line of duty death of a uniformed member of service on all department buildings from time of death until the day after the funeral. I repeat, the day after the funeral. Okay, yes, much shorter for every command other than where the officer works. So let me give you an example. You have Officer Jones, the 8A precinct, responds to a robbery, and during that robbery is killed in the line of duty. Okay, we have a line of duty death. He's assigned to the 8A precinct. We went over in scenario number one. The 8A precinct, where the member's assigned, is going to fly that flag at half-mast from time of death until 10 days after the funeral. But what about every other command? What about the 7-9 precinct? What about every other command other than the 8A precinct? They're going to fly the flag at half-mast from time of death until the day after the funeral. That's it. Till the day after the funeral. Every command other than the 8A precinct where the members are assigned. Until the day after the funeral. Now, I warn you, you have to be very careful not to mix up the courtesies of flying the flag at half-mast with when you are going to wear a mourning band. This core video goes over flying the flag at half-staff. And I have another core video that goes over Administrative Guide Procedure 305.14, mourning bands. And in that procedure, it tells us when we are allowed to wear our mourning band. Don't mix up mourning bands with the flying the flag at half-staff. Okay, there are some similarities, but there are a hell of a lot of differences. There it is, 304.02, courtesies. This was effective on June 10th of 2021, and it was revised by Revision Order number 47 of 2021. My name's Mike Yanisic. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to email us at mike@elitestrategictraining.com, or you could email my son, Connor at elitestrategictraining.com. Or call us on our cell phone, 516-761-9101. Keep studying, stay focused, and stay motivated. Until next time.